Right. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining me here today on this beautiful, bright Wednesday morning.
Pleasure.
I met you at the end of last year at an end of year party
Sure
where we
did.
had a little chat,
Yep.
there. And just for the listeners, Rebecca, she sits as vice president of the Bondi Chamber of Commerce. She's a real mover and shaker and a local Bondi girl who is a real visionary and has created her own incredible product called Soul Cups, which I love the idea of soul. I mean, that's what I do as a rabbi. It's all about connecting people with soul, bringing out soul throughout their lives, having that
That's
soul
it.
connection. And when I remembered hearing about Soul Cups and all the great work and everything that Soul Cups stands for, I just felt an instant connection with it. So, Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us. If you could maybe give us just a little bit of your background, how you got into Soul
Absolutely.
Cups, what's the story?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. And it was an awesome, awesome way to connect as well. I think it was a end of year Chamber of Commerce party as well. And we were all running around frantically. But yeah, so the gist of the journey is that I actually came from a completely different industry. I was in 2014, 15, I was working as a personal trainer. And my whole life was dedicated to empowering others, improving others' lives, bringing the best out of people, and being that, pillar of strength and support system. And I was so passionate about mental health and exercise and physical activity and everything, that encompasses that world. And I was managing gyms. I had heaps of clients. I was almost bodybuilding myself. I was getting ready to do competing. I was doing crazy, crazy stuff. And unfortunately, in 2016, I became incredibly unwell. And I always had autoimmune issues. But at the end of that year, I essentially burnt myself out because I wasn't living as an example for what I was teaching, my clients. And that was being mindful, encompassing mental health properly and actually listening to my body. And I completely burnt out. And if you can imagine, I literally woke up one day and I couldn't walk. So head to toe, the worst chronic pain I would never wish upon anyone, the most horrific experience of my life. And that was about 4 months of being practically immobile. So having to be from, wheelchair to walking stick to not be able to leave the house, not be able to move. You couldn't even lift up a glass of water. That's how much pain I was in. So it was doctors, specialists, hospital, everything you can think of. And obviously with that would have come so much depression and mental health issues. So, and Soul Cups was actually an accident. It was genuinely this passion project that I had running in the back of my mind, to keep me motivated, to keep me positive, to keep me thinking about the greater good. And that, I had reason to keep pushing and moving and ensuring that I would heal and get better. And that's what I did, and that's basically the very short version of the story. But yeah, it's all about resilience and mindfulness and just doing what you can every day to bring the best out of yourself.
That's so true. Wow. I didn't know that. I'm really sorry you went through that.
Don't be. It's the worst and also the best thing that would have happened to me.
Right. Right. Wow. And so where did the idea of Soul Cups actually come from? The idea, of doing something good for the environment, having, healthy cups that you can reuse. And what is it like? There's 1 billion cups that are thrown out every single year.
At least, if not more. Funnily enough, I've always been passionate about the environment and sustainability. That's obviously a natural thing that I connect to, but that wasn't actually the original purpose of why I started the business. What I was trying to do was create a platform for education. What I'm passionate about and what I believe in is empowering others, educating others, and supporting others to be their best selves and live their best life, which is why I became a trainer in the first place, right? And everything that I studied before and everything that I had businesses before and I had startups before and I had other projects. Everything was surrounded by this concept of mindfulness, mental health and psychology and people. understanding people. So what I was trying to do with Soul was create this platform for education about why we should actually consider what vessel we drink from in terms of our health. So when you go to the shop and you get a normal takeaway cup, it's coated with glue and wax on the inside. So those chemicals, those toxins go into your hot drink. You drink them, it impacts your health, your hormones, your, adrenals, your endocrine system, everything. And therefore we're not really conscious consumers, and we don't really understand the cycle of production either. So any way that I could produce something into the planet that was good for the earth, good for our health, good for our body and our mind, that was then achieving those inner goals, that inner why and purpose of, what I wanted to do.
That is so beautiful. What a beautiful way to think about it. That it wasn't necessarily, yes, it's all about the product, but the bigger picture is about education.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is, the Jewish value of tikkun olam, of fixing the world, and everyone can do their part. Even just one cup makes a big difference.
Exactly.
And I think that's just such a beautiful. I never actually thought of it like that. Yeah, it's about the education.
Yeah.
And it happens that the education comes out in the form of a cup.
Exactly. And that's the thing. The concept of education is so beautiful because it can manifest in so many different ways. And we're very fortunate to be e-commerce centric, meaning that we have this phenomenal amount of people that we can connect to outside of our immediate community. So we get to use our social media and our platforms of, websites and, whatever else we've got running to actually talk to people and use our power for the greater good. And that's all part of the journey as well.
Right. Can you give us maybe some more examples? You mentioned obviously a very personal and deep challenge that you had health-wise. I mean, have you found other challenges that you faced throughout the journey of establishing Soul Cups or beyond?
Yeah.
Did you use to overcome those challenges?
Look, as a business owner, you're going to be faced with challenges every day. That's the beauty of being a leader, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You're no longer just speaking for yourself. You've got a team to manage and to work with and to be responsible for. And the challenges that you're faced with are, anything. But if you want to be very specific, I think something I really love to talk about is authentic manufacturing, authenticity and transparency in production of goods, because a lot of the time you look at sustainable products and they're often greenwashed in the sense of you use those terms like we're eco, we're sustainable, we're ethical. But if you don't actually know what that means and you don't prove the point, then you're held liable to your actions, and it can cause a lot of problems with customers and consumer interaction. So something I hold very deeply is understanding the product development stages. And I have a deep knowledge of production, ethical production, sustainable production, and making sure we actually do what we say. And we have all the, reporting and the information to back it up, unlike a lot of other companies out there. So that could be a challenge or a roadblock, meaning there are limitations sometimes, or sacrifices you have to make sometimes, compared to the vision you might have, because you want to set and work towards your standards and values.
And how many people do you actually work with, and how do you work with others and in a way overcome the challenge of managing teams and making sure that everyone feels empowered and focused, and how do you deal with people?
I love people, and that's where it starts. That's the point. You can't lead people or work with people if you don't enjoy it and you're not passionate about people. And that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter how many employees you have or how many team members you have. If you're a good leader and you understand the psychology of human behavior and how different people respond to information in different ways, or people receive information in different ways, if you can understand the core of that, then you understand how to communicate in the appropriate manner to receive or absorb the messaging. So I love people. I understand psychology. I'm passionate about human behavior. And that's why I have such a strong, incredible team who feel safe and who feel inspired and empowered and autonomous to actually create magical things every day.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's so nice. And just one more question, I guess, from me is to all those who are listening, who wake up every day and, go about their day, and not, obviously we all face challenges throughout our day. What's a nice positive perspective? Like, what's a good frame of mind that we can have every day, especially now when, there's, isolation and we're not as together as we have been so used to? What's a good mindset that we can adopt to get us through this time?
So funny. I literally went on a like 5-minute rant on my Instagram yesterday exactly about this topic. And there's two, yeah, there's two concepts that I talk about all the time, and it's lateral thinking and solution-based thinking. So whether it's within your business, within your personal life, or your social life, or just in general in life, if you can hold on to and encompass the concept of lateral thinking, then you basically are viewing life from the space that opportunity is limitless and you hold no boundaries. Because at the end of the day, what stops us from achieving or from feeling happy, or feeling excited or passionate about life is often our own environment or our own mindset. And the beauty of that is that it's very, very easy to change. It's simply a thought. So if you can come back to yourself and literally speak the words or think the words that, I don't need to feel this way. I can feel however I want because I'm, in charge of my feelings, or I'm in charge of my mindset, then you're capable of doing anything. And lateral thinking is exactly that. It's opening your eyes, opening the landscape, opening your environment and saying, there's no problems, there's only solutions. And if I don't have the solutions, I have a phenomenal world around me where I can find those solutions and I can create those solutions, and anything is possible in that sense. So, if you find yourself a little bit down when you wake up in the morning because you're sick of working from home, and, meditate, pause, stop, remember what you've got, be grateful for the beautiful things in your immediate environment. You've got a roof over your head, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got a telephone you can connect to anyone with. And I think it's just grounding yourself and remembering all the greatness that you've got.
So well said. And, which gets us back to the idea of soul, right? Your soul, like,
yeah,
from a Jewish Kabbalistic view, it's like, it's your essence. And it's explosive. It's like a piece of God. You can do anything when you're in touch with your soul state.
exactly.
Exactly your message as well. That's so beautiful. Well, Rebecca, thank you so much for your time. I know you're really, really busy running a business, and you're so young. You've achieved so much, and what a great message and social mission you have as well. I wish you all the very best, and may God bless you to have incredible success, to keep on educating and inspiring others, and also, of course, physical material success as well.
Likewise, and thank you so much for creating this wonderful platform to share.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. All right, I've just paused.